Hi everyone, and welcome back to the second in our 4-part series about SEO. If you've tuned into our last one or you're a regular listener, please don't forget to like, subscribe, leave comments. We really love to have you engaged in our Bobble Pod community. So in this episode, we're picking up the whys around SEO, and I really wanted to start by just picking up a point we touched upon in our episode last week about how long it takes SEO to work. So Anush made a really great point from, at the end of the episode that SEO can take a long time. It's a long-term strategy. It doesn't deliver overnight results. So with that in mind, that may raise the question to people. So why do it? Why invest in something that I'm not going to see results from straight away? So the conversations we have with people around why to do SEO is it is a long-term strategy. If you are wanting something that delivers immediate results through search, you're going to look at paid activity. You're going to be doing some form of paid advertising to get you to the top of Google straight away. And we're going to do a whole series covering PPC in more detail. So then you look at actually the longer term goals of your business, and I want to be found organically for these search terms. In the future, having the freedom to choose whether you need to pay for Google advertising becomes, a lot more of an appealing idea, that actually if I invest in SEO now and I get to a really good organic place, in the future, it means that I have the possibility of dialing down my paid budget because I'm really happy with my organic listings. It's also one of those we kind of briefly touched upon in the last episode, that there's going to be those search terms that as a bit of a vanity project you want to see yourself appear for. It's exactly that reason why to invest in SEO. If you start a business today, for example, you're not going to be found online anywhere, unfortunately. It's just the nature of the beast. I think something like 500,000 new websites are created every day or something ridiculous. Don't quote me on that. But, there's so much activity going on online and on search that you need to, you're going to need to find a way to make sure that you stand out and to make sure that you can be found. So, for example, for us at Trio, as a small company, the best example I can give is we started investing in our SEO straight away from when we started. And now 4 years in, we have a regular stream of new clients that come to us from finding us organically for the keywords that we want to be found for. And that's our main lead generating activity. So although it took a long time, we had the foresight to see and invest in that, but we did pair it up with a paid strategy in the early days to ensure we had a stream of leads coming through. But we now are really strong in our organic positions, and then we can only continue to build upon that. So that would be where I would encourage people, why to get started with SEO is to really think about longer term where you want your business to be, because it is just going to be one of those things. If you don't invest now, it will be something you will grow to regret later on when, a few years down the line, you go, well, we feel in a pretty good position. We feel like we've grown a brand, but nobody can find us, and then you go, right, okay, so let's get started with this now. So the earlier you can get started with SEO and thinking about getting found organically, and all the little things you can do on your website that can help improve those chances, the better it's going to be. So Manni, why not talk us through why implementing like certain elements of SEO onto your website is particularly important?
I mean, you're just going to have to look at the last 2 years in terms of what has happened. A lot of companies stopped investing in their marketing, and those that continue to invest in their organic SEO are the ones that are leading the market now. It always happens in a recession. It always happens when those are, and that's how you have to see it in terms of SEO, as you said, is a long-term play. But as a user, as a listener, just put yourself as a consumer mindset in terms of when you're looking for products and services, you tend to go for and click on the websites that are up towards the top of Google, essentially. And there's a reason for that, because we don't want to keep searching. We want the best results, and we believe and we expect Google to give us the best results on the first page, and not many people go on to the second page. So it's really important that you have key elements implemented in terms of services SEO for your business, because without it, you're never going to be able to rank. We covered some of this in the previous episode in terms of what is SEO. And I always say break it down into 3 key elements, technical, content, links. It's really important that you have a fully functioning, technically SEO supported website. I'll leave the expertise to you on that, Trio and Claire. But when it comes to stuff like content, it's making sure you have the right relevant content. If you want to be featured, if you want to be found on Google for key services, I guess the best example I can give is just recently we had a client come up and call us up. I asked for our services, which were SEO, but the question I always ask them is, how did you hear about us? And I went, we Googled SEO agencies and leads and you're at the top, so that's why we clicked on you. So it gives validation that actually, if you're doing the services that you're offering, then that's it. And if you're ranking for the services that you are like your cash cows and, your main products, that's why you need to do it. The most important element is it, like I said, a long-term value. You have to invest in SEO for the long term because it reduces your wider paid media costs long-term as well. If you can rank organically for your keywords and services and be featured in the top 3 positions on Google, then you don't need to pay for those keywords as much as anyone else. And more often than not, those keywords are going to come at a premium in terms of a cost per click for those keywords. But if you can rank organically, it's more important for you because it's just natural organic leads. Yes, you have to invest into experts and into the resources around getting you there into that kind of position overall. But again, it comes down to those 3 elements that you need to invest in. Why it's important is, invest in your technical element of your SEO, which is your website. Invest into content in terms of writing relevant, having a good, clear tone of voice. That's important because you don't just want to rank for keywords and then people get onto the content on the site and be like, this isn't what I was looking for. That's going to impact you negatively. You want to make sure that content keeps them on site because it's a ranking factor for Google. And then you want to make sure that you're out there on relevant pages. So, we feature on, Prolific North, we feature on The Drone, we feature on, Business Up North, or any kind of marketing materials in terms of relation to what we do and the awards and announcements that we have. And they all link back to Bobble as a website. So we feature on other elements that helps build our brand. And that from a link perspective is really important because it means that people can find us not just through search, but through other publications as well.
Yeah. And I think going back to the why, the point you made about how people find you. I mean, how does anyone find anything? You Google it. So for anyone who thinks that SEO isn't important, it's like you've just got to ask yourself about your own behaviors and what you do and where you would first go to look for a new product or service. It's so innate in us now that that's just what we do. So really thinking about if your product is something that people are going to be going out there and searching for, do you want them to be able to find it? I think as well, an important point to make is I was reading an article yesterday, 46% of Google searches are local searches. So actually people are looking for companies local to them. So, it doesn't have to be a total scary thing of, right, how am I ever going to compete? How am I going to get found? If we were looking to try and get found nationally for web design companies, that would be a lot more difficult than trying to get found in our local area of Leeds for people looking for web design companies. And actually in so many industries, people want to work with a local business. So local searches are really important. So we then look at not only your website, but tapping into things like Google My Business listing that allows you to get found in maps and in rankings. And then you think about how that then ties in with reviews and the importance that your Google reviews can have on your listings. Having negative reviews is actually a negative ranking factor. So really thinking about tying everything in with, if you provide a good customer experience, you then get good reviews, which then improves your search visibility. So it does all tie in together, and maybe can seem a little bit daunting as well. But really, if you start piecing together these dots, that there is a really kind of easy path for you to take to start improving your online rankings when you tie in utilizing things like this, utilizing the content that you have on your website, when you think about it all from an SEO perspective. And I guess that's something I like to talk about is, we mentioned about blogging. Like to Trio, blogs are an SEO tool. That is why we're going to write blogs. It's for SEO. Whereas other people might write blogs because it's more of a social thing. It's for them to share out on social media, or they're creating content or whatever it might be. But blogs are such a great way for you to produce content that can help boost your online search rankings. So even just a shift in mindset, if you produce blogs already, to think about how they can help you improve your search, then gets you going, oh, okay, yeah, if I can include more of my keywords in here, if I can make my blogs more relevant to the things I want to be found for. And again, we always like to link in a video element. Obviously, Anush, as a video expert anyway, having you here, but we've learned over the past year, everything we do comes back to video, and we talk about it, and we know that video is 100% the future. So again, with video content, I guess it's that angle of thinking about it from an SEO mindset and thinking about why you should use your video as part of your SEO strategy.
Thanks for the question, Claire. I would go a bit maybe to the things that you told us about why usually when someone needs any kind of services, they just Google it. So from my own experience, I would not check the results after second or third pages, because you usually check the first one, at least the second, but not further. So if you really want to pop up in the results, you should be in the first positions of the ranking. That's very important to mention. If you're doing SEO, but you are not appeared in the first or second page, that means you are doing something wrong. So you need to really trust an expert if you are not an expert to do that. Concerning the video, if we talk about that, we talked a lot that video is very important, and there are a lot of let's say reasons for that. But let's take an example. If you have created a really good video, but you have done nothing to push it up in the rankings, that means your video has nothing and will not help you to achieve your goals. That's why video SEO is so important, as well as all other, let's say, SEOs are very important, because they are helping you to be seen. So that's the first thing. So if you are creating a great content and you are optimizing it for search engines, you are ranking better and you get let's say seen in the search engines. So especially in the beginnings, when you are just started your business, brand awareness is one of the most important reasons. So SEO will help you to get that brand awareness, because of great SEO, you will get more views. That means you will get more website visitors, which will lead to getting more likes, more comments, more shares. And the great SEO actually can save you a lot of money, because you will not pay for paid media. You will have a great SEO which will work instead of you already. That's not I'm talking for the very first month. Of course, you will need to work on that a lot for getting that results. And of course, one important thing that it's good to mention is that whenever you are optimizing your videos live longer online. So even the oldest videos that you have created can appear on the search results. Like, I don't know, 1 year later, even you will see the increase on your videos. So that means that your content will stay live all the time, which is really great, because you will invest one time and get results later. And to be honest, one thing that I will tell, if you are struggling to increase your video SEO rankings on Google, try doing it on YouTube, because on YouTube, doing optimization is much easier than on Google, because Google have a lot of different content types besides video, but YouTube is more concentrated on video mostly. So it will help you. It will be easier for you to rank higher on YouTube, and which will lead to also be seen on Google. And the traffic you get is free and consistent if we're talking about YouTube. And it's easier. The extra things to do to get higher in the rankings is easier, much easier than in Google.
We've talked about Google a lot. And that's why SEO is important. Someone asked me a couple of months ago, will Google be around forever? And I was like, Google's a mountain. It can't be moved, but it can be climbed. And that's kind of a quote I want you to kind